seeking a natural medicine alternative? Perhaps you've gotten that same old prescription with those oodles of side effects one too many times. Or maybe you've heard from your doctor the only alternative is more drugs, prescriptions, pain, and even surgery. That might not really work anyways, with an added bonus of that recovery time. It could be weeks and stretch into months. Maybe you found yourself saying, "There has got to be another way." Hi, I'm Charlotte Reed. I'm a ranch wife, mother of 2 young kids, tender of dozens of farm animals, and this was my story 8 years ago, when my oldest daughter, just a baby, suffered from repeating illnesses, from colds to digestion issues, and each time she'd get sick, I'd holler to the doctor, 30 miles away, to sit in the waiting room, surrounded by all the sick people, only to see the doctor for 5 minutes and receive yet another antibiotic that didn't do much good anyways. So I started looking for another solution. I thought, there has got to be another way. I wanted to find something that was safe, natural, affordable, and effective. I had been hearing from 2 of my good friends who didn't know each other. One friend would say, "Oh, I use this natural stuff on my animals. You should try it." While the other friend would say, "My kids never get sick." Yeah, right. And it was the same type of stuff the other friend was using. After hearing their stories, I was intrigued. I decided to check it out and try some for myself. Little did I realize I was about to embark on a whole new journey of empowerment. And it surprised the heck out of me. Over the course of the next 8 years, I would have stories to tell about how we haven't been to the doctor, but maybe 3 times in those 8 years. And 2 of those were well baby visits when my son was born, and the other was when I couldn't figure out what our deal was, so I went in to get a diagnosis, which was allergies, duh. So I promptly took care of that at home with a few drops of lavender, lemon, and peppermint. Even the most recent story is phenomenal. My cowboy husband got bit by a rattlesnake. And even though we went to the hospital to get some anti-venom, we found out anti-venom isn't good and it could kill ya. And the emergency room doctor said to my husband, "There's nothing we can do." With the unspoken message of, "When your finger turns black, come back in, we'll cut it off." Or, "If your internal organs start shutting down, come back in, and we'll try to fix that." "No thanks," said my cowboy husband, whose belief level in my natural medicine is minimal at best. He turned to me and said, "Well, I guess you better oil me up then." So I immediately put 1 drop of the blend of oils to disinfect the wound, then 2 drops of geranium, followed by a drop of helichrysum. Since he was in a lot of pain, I rubbed the pain-relieving blend next, followed by the massage blend for good measure. So over the course of the next 5 days, I rubbed the pain-relieving blend, the massage blend, the anti-aging blend, because it had frankincense, sandalwood, helichrysum, and rose in it, and finally the DNA repair and lymphatic cleaning blend of essential oils on his snakebite. And we watched the poison from the snakebite work its way up his arm, pooling in spots along his underarm of purplish black, or the swelling in his hand that made him look like the Michelin Man or Goodyear blimp guy, until I rubbed it with the pain-relieving blend of oils and then the massage blend of oils so it could calm down. But the whole time, in dealing with this possibly life-threatening situation, we relied on faith in God and in the oils. I would bet if we didn't have the oils, we would have had to go back to that hospital to have his blackened finger cut off. Or worse, them trying to help as his internal organs started shutting down. Now, I don't know too many people who have been bitten by a rattlesnake. Okay, like none, actually, besides my cowboy husband. So maybe this next story will resonate with you. My friend Barbara was visiting her grandkids in Colorado. We live in southeast Idaho. And in the middle of the night, her grandson awoke with a very high fever, along with the pain and discomfort of the early signs of a cold or flu. So Grandma Barbara got out her oils and rubbed her grandson's feet and his back. She used the protecting blend and then peppermint, just 2 drops on each foot, then a few drops in a carrier oil to dilute the hotness for his back. Within a few minutes he was sound asleep, and slept well the rest of the night until morning when he was fully recovered. Or how about my friend Melissa, mom of 2 young kids, who suffered from chronic fatigue syndrome for a dozen years. She had to spend so much time at the doctor's visits or laying on bed that she felt her heart being ripped to pieces because she couldn't be a good mom to her kids, because her debilitating illness was sucking the life out of her. So when she discovered the oils, she decided to give them a try. Melissa used the Lifelong Wellness supplements, along with the oils for pain, and oils like lavender for good sleeping, wild orange and peppermint for energy, and the grounding blend. She started noticing a difference within the first few days, and a month later she felt completely revitalized. And now she is nearly 100% pain-free. She doesn't have to go to the doctors for those monthly checkups or injections, and she is able to be the mom her heart has longed to be. Her family life has completely turned around. When my son was 2 years old, while riding his little antique rocking horse one blizzardy winter day on the ranch, long about lunchtime, he flipped himself over backwards and gouged a thumb-size hole in the back of his head. Ah! Bleeding head wound! My first thought was, crap! We gotta go to the doctor and get this stitched up. And somewhere in the back of my mind, a more calm and assured voice said, whoops, you have the tools and the knowledge. You can take care of this here at home. And suddenly I knew what to do. So I grabbed my oils. First the one to stop the bleeding, uranium, then the one to disinfect the wound, melaleuca, and finally 1 drop of the oil to heal up the wound, helichrysum. Just that quick and easy. Just a few drops of essential oil on that bleeding head wound that could have had stitches, but now is totally fine. There's the tiniest faint pink line on the back of his head, and the only thing I'm left with is a stronger belief in the power of these oils. That incident probably cost me about $5 in essential oils. But imagine the time, money, and stress of having to go to the doctors to get stitches. I'm not saying don't go to the doctor or hospital. Obviously, from the snakebite story, we still rely on the hospital for true emergencies. A lot of good it did us for the snakebite, though, huh? But wouldn't it feel so great if your first thought in dealing with a cold, or flu, or pain, or trauma, or even an accident was actually, I'll use this oil first, and then we'll try the traditional medical approach. Which is what I did a year ago when I got in a car wreck. After rubbing the oils for pain relief and the massage blend to soothe the muscles and inflamed tissues, which were in my neck, I realized that there were some emotions that I needed help dealing with from the car wreck. And luckily, essential oil expert, biochemist, and psychologist Dr. Susan Lawton, how many PhDs does she have, really? She handed me a special emotional mix. The recipe is in her book. The mix is called Number 2A Blend. And as I sat there visiting with her about the pain and trauma of the car wreck, she handed me this little blue bottle of Number 2A that she had just mixed up herself and told me to put a drop in my palm and just smell it. Oh boy, what happened next is difficult to explain or describe. I suddenly felt all those emotions, the turmoil, the questions like, why did this happen? And the pain and the struggle of that car wreck, whoosh, out of my body. It just drained out, gone. And replacing all those feelings came a calm, grounding peace. And I felt better than my old self, better and more grounded, more whole than I had felt in such a long time. That experience then opened my awareness of the effects of the oils not only on the physical body, but on the deep emotions as well. Oh, hey, speaking of emotions, watch out. I'm probably going to cry and tell this next story. Hang in there. Okay, how about the time I used the oils in the hospital when my sister, who is a very accomplished cowgirl, handed me her 6-month-old son so that she could rope a little bit in the branding trap with all the cowboys. She was fine for half an hour, and then suddenly her horse shot out of the pen and she landed on her knees, out past the ground crew. We thought she was okay at first, until she didn't get up. We waited for what seemed like an hour for the ambulance to finally get there. After many x-rays in the hospital emergency room, she ended up having a broken right femur, left ankle, and right wrist. But the specialized surgeon couldn't operate on her until morning, because he had been in surgery all day and was so exhausted he couldn't even function. They put her on the highest doses of pain medication possible, and those drugs weren't even touching her pain. She just laid there with tears seeping, moaning out in agony. I stayed with her in the hospital that night and rubbed oils on her every 20 minutes. All night long. Well, until 3 a.m. when I ran out of wintergreen and birch and deep blue and helichrysum. With many prayers and tears, I picked up the phone at 3 a.m. and I called my friend and oils mentor, Grandma Barbara, who was the closest person to the hospital that I could think of. She met me at the door with those oils, so that I could keep rubbing them on my sister's legs and arms, so that she could rest and not be in so much pain, because the oils helped. They were so comforting to both of us in that tender moment. These oils have changed my life. Before the oils, I wouldn't know what to do in an emergency, or for the basic cold and flu, or chronic pain and illness. But now I do. Now I feel full of hope and faith and peace, that no matter what, we'll rely on our Father in heaven and in the oils. Decide to try these oils for yourself. Watch the next video and see where they're from, what they are, and how to use them in your home. Begin today with the thought, there's got to be another way. And I can promise you, this is the other way, and it's safer, more affordable, and more effective. I have so many stories from life on the ranch with the oils to share with you. Everything that I've learned about these oils and how to use them is what I want to share with you. It begins with the next movie, which is 10 minutes, professionally done, and it has cool music too. Click play on the next movie and find out more about these oils. Charlotte Reed, say love you, bye-bye.